Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We take complex stuff and, well, give you the shortcut to sounding like you actually know what you're talking about.
Or at least knowing the core ideas.
Exactly. Today, we're tackling a book that's been kind of a lightning rod, maybe even a sacred text for some guys. Deida's 1997 guide, The Way of the Superior Man. The one subtitled A Man's Guide to Mastering the Challenges of Women, Work, and Sexual Desire.
Yeah, and it's absolutely crucial we frame this right from the start. This isn't your standard relationship advice book. Not at all.
Okay, how so?
Deida himself calls it a spiritual and philosophical guide. It's aimed at what he terms a newly evolving man. And he puts a huge disclaimer right up front. This is not specific medical advice, psychological counseling, or even sexual technique coaching.
Got it. So it's more of a worldview, a path.
A very high-demand path, frankly. It's about self-mastery, and it's intense. Few people probably follow it to the letter.
Right. And that intensity, that uncompromising nature, that's what we want to unpack today. Our mission here is to really get into Deida's ideas about, core essence.
Polarity.
How polarity fuels passion, and the serious discipline, he says, is required for everything, really your life's purpose and your intimate relationships.
And you kind of have to understand the context of why he wrote it. Think late 20th century relationships. Deida felt society had moved past the really toxic extremes. The stereotypical macho jerk on one side, the overly submissive partner on the other.
Raw-grass, right.
Sort of. But he argued the common solution became this sort of 50-50, perfectly balanced partnership, which is great for, say, household chores and economics. But he claimed it often led to this dulling effect. The energetic difference got flattened out. Sexual neutrality, he called it. Passion just fizzles.
Okay, so if that 50-50 balance ends up more like friendship than fireworks, what's his alternative? What brings back the intensity?
The absolute bedrock of his whole philosophy is sexual polarity.
Polarity.
He insists passion depends entirely on the difference, the energetic charge between two distinct poles, the masculine and the feminine. Attraction is that flow of energy between these different states. And what's really interesting is he says this is crucial regardless of gender or sexual orientation. It's not about being a man or a woman.
Okay.
It's about needing one partner to embody the more masculine pole and the other the more feminine pole in that moment of intimacy for the charge, the spark, to really exist and last.
That makes a certain kind of sense. It's about the underlying energy, not the surface labels. And he thinks most people, like 90% or so, have a dominant essence, right? That kind of drives their core priorities.
Exactly. Even if we can all tap into the other energy sometimes. He defines the masculine essence by its core drive for mission, direction, and freedom.
Okay, purpose-driven.
Right. Moving forward, achieving things, breaking through barriers. While the feminine essence, its priority is the flow of love, relationship, and feeling.
More about connection and the present moment's emotional reality.
Precisely. Being present, feeling it all fully.
And this distinction, this is where his advice starts getting really, controversial maybe. Because he says if a masculine core person isn't living their purpose, their life feels empty.
Completely hollow, yeah. Even if the relationship is great, his partner's love can't fill that void left by an unfulfilled mission.
And the flip side for the feminine essence.
If she doesn't feel that flow of love, that deep connection, her core feels unfulfilled, even if she's, CEO of the year.
Wow. Okay, so that difference is the absolute foundation.
It underpins everything else.
Right.
And that leads directly into his core mandate for the superior man.
Let's get into that. The mandate of purpose and self-discipline.
Okay, so the big one. Chapter 7, it's maybe the most famous or infamous part. Your purpose must come before your relationship.
Whoa. Okay. Unpack that.
He means it literally. A man, in his view, needs to align everything, his diet, his work, his schedule, with his deepest mission or purpose. Everything. Because the moment he puts the relationship's comfort or demands ahead of that core purpose, Deida says he weakens himself internally. He loses his spine, his direction.
And the irony is?
The irony is that this actually makes him less present, less attractive, less trustworthy to his partner in the long run.
Okay, but hang on. That flies directly in the face of, decades of relationship advice.
Right.
Which is all about compromise, partnership, making your partner number one.
Absolutely. It's countercultural in that sense.
So if a guy actually tries this, tells his partner, look, my mission comes first, how does Deida expect him to handle the inevitable pushback, the arguments about time and attention?
That is the path. That conflict, that tension is the discipline Deida talks about.
Ah.
He argues a superior man has to hold both his purpose and his love fully without compromising either. If the relationship becomes his excuse for avoiding his deeper calling.
He loses integrity?
Exactly. And his partner feels that weakness, that neediness, and ultimately resents it. That immediate real-world conflict. That's the fire where this superior man is supposedly forged.
So conflict isn't failure, it's the workout.
Pretty much. And this connects to another key idea from Chapter 1. Stop hoping for a completion of anything in life.
Right. We're always waiting, aren't we?
Yeah.
When I finish this, when I get that promotion, then I'll relax, then I'll do what I love.
Deida says that's a trap. Life is just this constant, ongoing creative challenge. It never ends. So his actionable advice for you, the listener, is pretty direct.
What is it?
Spend at least 1 hour every single day doing what you truly want to do, what feeds your purpose right now. Don't wait for the perfect conditions.
Because the waiting is just...
An excuse. A lack of discipline, basically.
Yeah.
Putting it off.
And this commitment, this purpose, it demands total integrity, even about your limits.
Yes. Chapter 4. Know your real edge and don't fake it. He says it's okay, it's honorable even to admit your fear, to know where your current limit, your edge is, but it's dishonorable to lie about it, to pretend you're stronger or more capable than you are. And then, crucially, Chapter 8 says you must constantly lean just beyond your edge.
So not staying comfortable, but not breaking yourself either.
Exactly. Not lazy, but not reckless. It's that continuous, slight stretch, that discomfort zone, that's where the growth happens.
And this integrity has to show up in the relationship too, right? Chapter 6 warns, never change your mind just to please a woman.
Right. Now, this isn't about being a stubborn jerk.
Okay, important distinction.
The idea is listen deeply, really hear her perspective, her feelings, her truth, absorb it fully, then act from your own deepest clarity, your own core knowledge or intuition.
So if you override your own truth just to keep the peace.
Deida says you betray yourself and her, you weaken the connection because it's now based on something inauthentic.
I can see how that could be easily misinterpreted, though, like used as an excuse for just being rigid or dismissive.
Oh, absolutely. That's the danger. He emphasizes this clarity comes from deep self-awareness, maybe spiritual practice, not just ego. It's the betrayal of your core that's the problem, not the disagreement itself.
Okay, and what about purpose itself? If you're always pursuing it, what happens when you actually achieve something?
Yeah.
Or when it changes?
That's Chapter 12. Mission is cyclical. Growth means letting go.
Letting go of
Old purposes, old goals, maybe even old relationships or careers, once they genuinely become, in his words, empty, boring, and useless.
Wow, that sounds disruptive.
It is. And then you have to be willing to wait, maybe in a period of not knowing, until a new, deeper purpose or vision emerges. This constant cycle of destruction and rebirth is just a sign your soul is outgrowing its old form.
That is a massive internal landscape to navigate. Let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about how this superior man navigates the actual dynamics of intimacy, especially with the feminine essence, which Deida often portrays as, well, confusing for men.
Right. And his starting point is radical acceptance. Chapter 16, women are not liars.
Okay, but men often feel confused by shifting statements or feelings.
Exactly. Because, Deida says, her truth is her shifting feelings in the moment. It's not about linear, consistent, objective facts like it often is for the masculine perspective.
So trying to pin her down based on what she said yesterday is pointless.
It's like arguing with the weather, he says. Her words are like a cloud in the sky, coherent one moment, gone the next. If a man keeps expecting her to operate by his logical rules, he'll just stay confused.
Okay, that understanding then feeds into this whole idea of women testing their men. Right. Which Deida says is constant. Chapter 15. It never stops.
But what's actually being tested, if she complains about something specific, say, he's not spending enough time with her. Chapter 31 says her complaint is content-free. How does that work?
It means the complaint itself, the lack of time, the dishes, whatever, is rarely the real issue.
Yeah.
It's a test of his core strength, his ability to stay centered, loving, and present in his truth despite the emotional storm she might be kicking up. She wants to feel his Shiva core. Shiva core. That's a key term. What does that mean practically?
So, in Hinduism, Shiva is often seen as the unmoving, conscious awareness behind everything, the silent witness.
Okay.
For Deida, the masculine man needs that deep internal center, an unshakable presence that isn't thrown off balance by her emotional waves or complaints.
So when she tests him,
She wants him to hold his ground, his direction, his purpose, while also being fully present and loving towards her feeling. Her feminine essence needs to feel his unwavering presence alongside his unwavering direction.
and if he gets defensive or angry or caves in just to stop the complaint.
He fails the test. But if he stays calm, present, loving, and holds his course, he passes. And she feels safe. She can relax back into her own feminine flow because she trusts his strength.
But if the complaint is content-free, isn't there a huge risk of just dismissing her feelings? Like, oh, she's just testing me again and ignoring what she's actually saying.
See, that's the paradox, and it's incredibly difficult. That's where the loving presence part is non-negotiable for the superior man. Deida is very clear. Do not analyze her problem logically. Do not tell her how to fix her own emotional state. That's chapters 19 and 20.
So what does he do?
His job is to assume instantly that the root feeling is unloved or unseen. And his response should be immediate love and presence. Give her the feeling of being deeply loved and held right now.
So you meet the feeling with love, not logic, while staying true to your own direction.
Exactly. The masculine path might be analysis and action, but the feminine path, in his view, finds freedom by surrendering into love. He provides the love that allows her to release the feeling, even as he remains steady.
That sounds profoundly challenging in practice.
It is, and maybe the biggest paradox of all comes in chapter 32. She doesn't really want to be number one.
Wait, what? That sounds completely backwards.
I know, but his logic is, if she becomes his absolute top priority, overriding his purpose, she senses his dependence on her, his neediness.
And that makes him seem
Less trustworthy, less capable of navigating the world because his core direction can be easily swayed by her moods or demands. What she really craves, he argues, is knowing he is utterly devoted to his highest purpose.
because that provides.
Because she wants to relax in the demonstration of your direction, chapter 34. She wants to feel that deep clarity, emotional, financially, spiritually, that comes from him being locked onto his mission. She trusts that direction, which is stable, more than she trusts his reactions to her, which can be unstable.
Okay. And there's a difference in how they grow too, right? Masculine thrives on challenge.
But the feminine grows through praise, chapter 17.
Explain that.
A man gets stronger when tested, pushed, challenged. But using challenge, criticism, or insulting language with the feminine essence, Deida says, just makes her shut down or put up her own masculine defenses.
Whereas praise,
Praise, given freely and genuinely, magnifies the qualities you want to see more of in her. It opens her up. It's a completely different mechanism for encouraging growth.
Okay, let's move into the final segment. This gets into some really provocative territory.
Yeah.
Energy, the dark side, and sexual mastery.
Right. So a man with a strong masculine core is just constantly drawn to the feminine. It's that polarity again, a magnetic pull.
Not just towards women, though.
No, he says it's everywhere. In nature, music, art.
Mm.
Even he mentions things like a cold beer. It's just that attractive feminine energy.
And that attraction itself is fine, healthy.
Totally natural and healthy, yes. The key is what he does with that energy.
Right.
Chapter 41's instruction is, turn your lust into gifts.
Meaning.
Instead of immediately acting on it or dispersing it through, say, casual sex, fantasy, or even just immediate ejaculation, he should learn to circulate that heightened energy back through his own body.
For what purpose?
As fuel, as inspiration, creative drive, presence. Don't just spill the energy. Use it to build something, to deepen presence.
Okay. And this leads into the really edgy stuff. Chapter 37. She wants the killer in you. That sounds dangerous. Needs careful handling.
Extremely careful handling, yeah. This is probably the most misunderstood chapter. It is absolutely not about literal violence or aggression towards women.
So what is it about?
It's about his capacity for absolute fearlessness, his deep internal willingness to face death, to face annihilation, and still hold his truth without compromise. It's about being the man who could stand completely alone if necessary, rooted in his deepest convictions.
And how does that translate sexually?
Chapter 36 contrasts ravishment with coercion. Coercion is loveless, selfish taking. Ravishment, in Daida's terms, is about loving penetration through resistance.
Through resistance. Explain that carefully.
It means meeting her hesitation or barriers not with force, but with overwhelming, unwavering love and presence. It's affirming his direction in love through her tests or boundaries, drawing her deeper into surrender rather than violating her. It requires immense sensitivity and love, not aggression.
Okay, so it's about the quality of presence meeting resistance, not force.
Precisely. And that same internal depth, that fearlessness, applies directly to mastering sexual energy itself. Chapter 44. Ejaculation should be converted or consciously chosen.
Invert it.
He sees easy, habitual ejaculation as depleting. It leads to mediocrity, a sort of energetic flatness, and on a subtle level, he argues, his woman feels that. She feels he can be easily conquered or drained, which undermines her trust in his staying power in the world.
So the goal isn't just avoiding ejaculation.
No, the goal he describes is achieving a non-ejaculatory whole-body orgasm, something that rejuvenates and expands consciousness rather than depleting it.
And he gives techniques for this. Chapters 45, 46 mention things like breathing energy up the spine. What does that practically involve?
Yeah, he draws on practices often found in Tantra or Taoism. It involves learning, at the point of high arousal, to consciously contract pelvic floor muscles, like the PC muscle, and use the breath to draw that intense sexual energy upwards, circulating it through the body and brain instead of letting it release outwards.
So transforming the energy flow.
Right. Shifting the experience from a brief, localized spasm of release to potentially a prolonged shared whole-body state of blissful energy circulation that actually feels expansive and connecting, not draining. It's using sex for spiritual growth, not just pleasure release.
Okay, that level of discipline, both sexual and with purpose, sounds incredibly demanding to maintain alone.
It probably is, which is why Chapter 50 stresses the need for both solitude and the company of other men.
Solitude for what?
For austerity, self-reflection, confronting your own weaknesses and patterns without distraction, cutting out comforts to find your edge.
And the company of other men.
Crucially, other men who are on a similar path. A brotherhood, he calls it. Men who will challenge your mediocrity, call you out, who won't settle for his bullshit.
Accountability partners, basically.
Yeah, but maybe more intense, with agreed-upon consequences for failing to live up to your commitments. It's about creating an environment that constantly pulls you towards your highest potential, your edge.
So wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway for you, the listener? It seems the way of the superior man isn't just self-help. It's this intense, almost spiritual discipline.
Definitely. It rejects the old macho stereotypes, but it also fiercely rejects the overly accommodating nice guy who loses his core. It demands this really difficult integration of deep integrity spine and open-hearted love.
A challenging path, for sure.
Yeah, and maybe the core lesson woven through it all is that real freedom, deep passion, isn't found in seeking comfort or easy compromises. It's found in the commitment to continuous growth, constantly leaning into your edge.
And the role of the partner in that.
Deida argues her testing, her challenges, they never really stop. Not out of malice, but because the feminine essence acts like a natural mirror to the masculine core's integrity. It keeps ensuring he's pushed to deepen his consciousness until it truly matches his energy.
So here's the final thought to leave you with. If Deida's right, if the world, and particularly his intimate partner, will constantly test a man until he develops that deep, unwavering core, what does that really imply for modern life, especially for anyone seeking primarily comfort, predictability, maybe external approval, instead of cultivating what Deida calls that new kind of guts?
It suggests the deepest work isn't about negotiating external circumstances, maybe, but about that relentless, uncompromising path of self-mastery. A path few might choose, but one Deida presents as the way to true fulfillment and lasting passion.